Hello. I wanted to do a few things this week, going all the way back to the beginning of our semester. A lot of people, even children, they'll be in math, fourth grade. When are we ever going to use this? I'm never going to use this. What's the point? And just the general consensus is that people feel that way about math, particularly once you get sort of pre-algebra and up. People are like, why do I ever need to know this? So I wanted to go back to the beginning of the semester, and I'm going to show you a real life, true example of where I use in my own life at that kitchen table behind you last night, something that we've studied in our class, actually two things that we've done a lab on. So let's go back just a little bit. The first lab we did was a recipe lab. When are you going to use that? When you cook. Second lab was the grocery lab. You're going to use that when you grocery shop. The third was the flooring lab. You're going to use that when and if you ever buy a house, if you remodel a house, if you own a rental house, if you buy a vacation home. Flooring is just a necessity in a living space. Even if you're renting, you may try to negotiate with your landlord new flooring. Then we did rounding decimals. Now, this is one of the things that I used last night in the real world experience that I'm going to tell you about in just a minute. We did a chemistry lab. I'll be honest, I don't use a lot of chemistry in day to day, but what was in that lab, we had proportions, we had ratios, we had rates, things like that. Those types of things I do use, but chemistry, not so much, other than in my job as a math teacher. Then we did the multiple intelligence lab. Please tell me you love that one, because when are you going to use that? Every single day to learn more about yourself and others. I love that lab. Then we did the COVID lab where we were looking at COVID and linear and exponential models. That's important, particularly right now. Those of us that have lived through COVID, we want to be more knowledgeable about it so we can tell our children and our grandchildren about this horrific pandemic that we've survived. Then last week we did a linear and exponential lab. I'll be honest, that's another one I don't really use on a regular basis. I do use it, but it's the kind of thing you don't even know you're using it. For example, you sign up at Planet Fitness and they have a sign-up fee of $35 plus $15 per month. Well, that's a linear equation. You probably didn't know that, and you probably didn't take the time to write it as y equals mx plus b. But we use linear and exponential equations. It's just not something that we really recognize we're doing. And then this week, you're going to do an interest lab. Interest is really important. That's something that I'm big on because it's a life financial skill. You need to understand what interest is. When is interest a good thing? That's when you're investing money. And when is interest a bad thing? That's when you had to borrow money. So every lab we've done up to this point in time. Oh, I forgot the most important one. Excuse me, looking at my notes here. The mean, median, and mode lab. Forgive me, that was either the week before spring break. I think it was the week before spring break, and it was paired with the quiz. Mean, median, and mode. Remember, mean, E and A, represent your average. Median has an I in the middle, so it's the middle number. And mode is a four-letter word with an O and a D. I'm sorry, O and an E. And mode stands for most. Well, let me tell you a personal story. And here's my paper. Here's the other one. So I am looking for a house. I want to buy a different house, and I feel like now's a good time to sell mine. The market's hot. So I'm looking for a house. And what I did last night, I found one that I want, but it's not on the market. But I've talked to the person, and I want this house. So I'm trying to figure out a price that I could offer this person for their house that's not on the market. And so what I did, I went to realtor.com. That's one of my favorite websites, realtor.com. I pulled up all the houses in a comparable range that have sold in like the last year in Laurinburg, because that's where I want to buy a house in the city limits too. I didn't go to Wagram. I didn't go to Laurel Hill or Gibson. I want to live in the city limits. So I'm only comparing houses that are in the city limits. And I found 29. So I wrote down, I don't want to show too much, but I wrote down a list of the houses, what they sold for, or what they're currently listed for if they're still on the market, and what the square footage was. Okay? From there, I divided the total price by the square footage. That is a rate. And I found the price per square foot. We did that the very first week or second week of class, rates. Price per square foot. And again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but you can see in pink, okay, see my pink? That is the price per square foot. Okay, so I used my calculator. I rounded my decimals correctly, and you know if you're talking about money, it needs to go to 2 decimal places. So I've got all this information. Here's my pink. And then what I did is I averaged you can see this. Well, let me go. Sorry. I don't want to be too personal. But this is let's see, I'm pointing to the wrong thing. This is the mean. I averaged the price per foot of 29 houses. You can see I've listed all of the price per foot rates right here. These are the 29. The lowest was $64 and the highest was $114. So I listed them all out. I calculated the mean. That's the average. I calculated the mode, the one that was most represented, and that happened to be 92. There were 3 houses on my list of 29 that were $92 per square foot. And then finally, I determined the mean. Remember, mean is the middle. So if you look really closely, well, you probably can't see that, but I went through the 29 and I found the middle point, and the middle point was 91. So you can see these numbers are really, really close. I've got 91, 91, and 92. So that lets me know, based on the mathematical information that I have gathered in this class, what to offer this lady for her house. And I didn't pull it out of the sky. This is mathematical. Look, I'm going to prove it to her. I'm going to show her my papers and my calculations, and I'm going to say, this is what your house is worth in the market in Laurinburg, April 2021. And I did the same thing to calculate the value of my house. I took my square footage and I multiplied by, I used 91. And so I just wanted to show that to you because this is stuff that you can actually use. I'm going to present this data to this lady. I'm probably going to type it up because it's handwritten right now. But I'm going to talk to her and I'm going to say, hey, this is the math and this is what the facts are. So anyway, personal story, but this stuff can be used in the real world. And I hope you don't get to the end of this course and look back and say, what a waste of time. Because I don't feel that way at all. I love this class because I think it's super applicable. Okay, moving on. That's a review of the labs. Last week you finished up chapter 5. Those are linear and exponential equations. You did a review in Hawks as well as a quiz. That was not a proctored quiz. So I hope you did well on that. Let's look forward to this week. This is week number 11. Now keep in mind we only have 14 weeks in this class. I'm going to talk about the exam at the end of this video. But this week we're going to start on our final chapter, and it is on money. Everybody likes money. Everybody wants money. You know, it's a hot topic. And this week specifically we're going to talk about interest. Next week we're going to delve into some other financial things about debit and credit cards. But you have some videos of me explaining the section 9.2 with my notes, and then you have a section on Hawks that goes with those particular notes and videos, and then you also have an interest lab, and all of that goes together. Like, this is a week's worth of material and it all flows together. It's all the same topics. One is on Hawks, one is a lab, videos and notes. So this is a cohesive week. Topic is interest. We've got simple interest and compound interest. And really quick, because I talked about those other things so long, I want to move on to the final exam. I haven't posted anything about this yet. I will post next week about the final exam, but let me give you the dates. The final exam will open Friday, May 21st at 7 a.m. and it will close Thursday, May 27th. That is the last day of class for spring semester Richmond Community College 2021. Thursday, May 27th, the exam will close at 9 p.m. It is going to be proctored. I would love for more people to take the test with me simply because at the end of the semester, a lot of instructors are giving proctored exams, and the Academic Success Center as well as ProctorU can get really busy, and I have more availability. So I would love for you to take it with me. But I want you to take those notes down and be thinking about how you're going to take your exam. It went really smoothly last time. So it opens on Friday the 21st at 7 a.m. and it closes on Thursday the 27th at 9 p.m. So have a good week, and I hope you find some way in your life this week to use some of the math that we've studied.